Justin Bieber has officially released his sixth album, Justice, and although it is an improvement from his last effort, Changes, that's not saying much, because the bar is kind of on the floor with that album. But I will say it is a general step up from Changes. With Justice, Justin Bieber enlisted a plethora of different acts to collaborate with, which include Khalid, Chance the Rapper, The Kid Laroi, Dominic Fike, Daniel Caesar, Giveon, Beam, and Burna Boy. And honestly, I don't think he has one great feature on this album. With such a wide selection, I would expect one of the collaborations to be great. In fact, I don't think Justin Bieber has mastered a great feature on his solo material since his Baby and Believe days, when it felt like his features actually added something to the material. His features can oftentimes just feel like a cultivation of the hottest and most popular artists working together, much like a DJ Khaled record, as opposed to a well-fit collaborative effort that evokes some type of chemistry between the collaborative partners. Justice is a completely misleading album title. Speaking about the meaning of the album with Rolling Stone, he said, "In a time where there's so much wrong with this broken planet, we all crave healing and justice for humanity. In creating this album, my goal is to make music that will provide comfort, to make songs that people can relate to and connect to so they feel less alone. Suffering, injustice, and pain can leave people feeling helpless. Music is a great way of reminding each other that we aren't alone. Music can be a way to relate to one another and connect with one another. I know that I cannot simply solve injustice by making music, but I do know that if we all do our part by using our gifts to serve this planet and each other, that we are that much closer to being united. This is me doing a small part, my part. I want to continue the conversation of what justice looks like, so we can continue to heal." Chance the Rapper also hyped this album up, claiming that it was groundbreaking music and some of the best music he's ever heard, and also compared it to Michael Jackson's Off the Wall. And I don't know what type of ears he had to compare it to Off the Wall, but to put it simply, it was all a lie.
About how fire your album is. When we went to Chicago and we were all freaking out.
So fun, bro. This album is really some of the best music I've made. Would you agree?
I would say this is no cap at all. I said this to you in Chicago.
Damn.
It's some of the best I've ever heard, period. It reminds me of when Michael Jackson made Off the Wall. Everybody that's listening, I am merching it right now. I promise you, it is literally groundbreaking music. Like, stuff that's like, it's just hard to explain, and I don't want to give away like the genres and all that stuff, but like, you went crazy.
This album is worlds away from Michael Jackson's prime greatness. Justin began the rollout for this album rather quickly. Changes hadn't even been out a full year before he began the rollout for Justice, and I think he did that because of the huge backlash Changes and Yummy received. I feel like he sort of just wanted to do away with that record, seeing that it wasn't doing extremely well. The album received a lot of negative attention, and the main reason was simply the music itself, and of course his promotion tactics for Yummy. First of all, let's start with the singles, because he did release quite a few before this album was released. Lonely was easily one of his most personal tracks released in a long time. I just felt it was a bit too safe, but I couldn't expect that from a Justin Bieber record now. I also never thought I'd hear the day Justin Bieber yodels, and I can't say I'm necessarily a fan of that stylistic choice. He also released Holy alongside Chance the Rapper. Holy is a pop gospel song, in which he compares his love to feeling holy. Holy is a piece of watered down Kanye, and it doesn't help that Chance the Rapper is on the song because he delivers nothing at all. He also released Anyone, which was initially intended for Camila Cabello, and I can't say I'm a fan of the beat boop type beat, although it does differ in his most recent tracks since it is an 80s/90s inspired pop track. And lastly, he released Hold On, which sort of felt like he was going that 80s pop route. 80s pop is very in right now. This song feels like it's a product of The Weeknd's After Hours, except it's not done nearly as tasteful. Justice has a title that would make you think he's going to touch upon issues of injustice or the political climate in general. And not only the album title, but Justin's words leading up to the album seemed like he was going to make a step to get political in his music. Instead, it's a bunch of love songs dedicated to his wife. The unwavering and major question I have about this album is, why is Martin Luther King on this album? It's extremely distasteful and overall misplaced. His speeches about civil rights should not be on this album at all. The album title and the Martin Luther King excerpts have absolutely nothing to do with the album or the music itself, and within the context of the album, it just feels so random and panderous. Justice is a collection of love songs to his wife, and is far better at being that than his 2020 album Changes. It is not a socially conscious or even self-aware album. All of what he's talking about on this album is centered around him and his personal love or problems. In fact, the subject matter can feel a bit repetitive at times since he's going on and on about how in love he is. It's not the huge leap forward in artistry that I was wanting from Justin at this stage in his career, like say Sweetener or Thank You Next, and it certainly has its missteps. I feel like Justin has yet to land somewhere that is super solid in songs, themes, and even cohesiveness since his 2015 album Purpose. I don't think he's yet had an album that defines Justin Bieber as an artist per se. We know Justin Bieber is an undeniable hitmaker, but I still feel like he's a bit stationary and hasn't made any huge leaps in his artistry since becoming an adult star. I can say that this album is his most mature record, and he does come across sincere, and that's the quality I can appreciate about the album. Still, I question why he marketed this as a Justice album, when in fact it's just a husband album. Justin is happy, he's in love, and you can clearly tell from his recent records. Unfortunately, that great amount of love he has for his wife doesn't always translate to great music. He has some good vocal performances on this record, and outside of a few tracks, he seems to have left his dreams of being an R&B star behind. Justice runs a bit too long, is a bit too repetitive lyrically, and focuses almost completely on himself and his emotional states, which is odd considering that this album was supposed to be about justice and humanity. Justin seems to be in a better place than he's ever been, and that's great for him personally. I also think Justice is just his most straightforward pop release yet. This album, in Justin's words, was supposed to be about justice for humanity, but it's just about a married man who at times has his moments of greatness, but most of the time it's flying out of one ear. It's a step up from Changes, but it's still not a step up for Bieber himself.